A reckless CO's son hit my daughter and fled. The phone rang while my daughter's blood was still drying on my hands. Unknown number. I stared at the cracked screen, my pulse pounding in my ears. She was in surgery. Machines were breathing for her. Every second was borrowed time. The number flashed again. I answered. A voice slid through, casual, almost amused. "My son has immunity. I own the judge. Drop it." My jaw tightened. Silence tasted like metal. Then I spoke, calm, steady, deliberate. "You have 10 minutes to turn him in." The laugh that followed wasn't careless, it was arrogant. A man who had never once been told no. 9 minutes later, my phone vibrated again. This time, it wasn't the CEO. It was his lawyer, panicked. "Who the hell are you? We're ready to accept all your terms. Just stop what you started." I leaned back in the hospital chair, staring at the blood dried beneath my nails. I didn't answer, because I already knew what I was, and what I was capable of. The boy's car had come out of nowhere, silver, sleek, untouchable. He hadn't even braked. I remembered the thud, the scream. My daughter's body crumpled on the asphalt like discarded fabric. And then, the taillights disappearing. He didn't stop. I held her in my arms, feeling her breath flicker, as people shouted, called ambulances, screamed for help. My vision tunneled, but my mind stayed cold. The hospital lights were merciless. The surgeon's words blurred. Fractures, internal bleeding, critical condition. Then came the call, the arrogance, the reminder of how power worked in this city. The boy had killed before, I realized, or maimed. His father had covered it again and again. Immunity. I thought about that word while watching her chest rise and fall on borrowed oxygen. Immunity. For them, not for her. I clenched my fists. Not rage, something colder, something heavier. If justice was bought and sold, then I would not seek justice. I would seek truth, and then I would decide what to do with it. I started quietly. First, I pulled hospital surveillance. A friend owed me a favor. I watched the grainy footage, the car, the boy behind the wheel, smirking with a girl beside him. He didn't even look back. Next, I traced the phone number that had called me. Not hard. Burners leave trails if you know where to look. I'd learned long ago to follow threads until the net collapsed. By dawn, I knew the boy's schedule, his vices, his digital fingerprints. He wasn't just reckless, he was sloppy. Messages leaked through, girls bought, drugs delivered, videos of nights that could dismantle reputations. Everything shielded by his father's empire. I didn't rage. I collected, piece by piece. And then the deeper betrayal surfaced. The CEO wasn't just protecting his son, he was protecting himself. Because buried in the boy's recklessness was a truth that would ruin him. Documents, transfers, names of judges and officers bought. A network so tangled it didn't take force to destroy it, just light. But light alone wasn't enough. Light had to be timed, calculated, irreversible. So I waited, calm on the surface. A father by the bedside, holding his daughter's limp hand. Nurses whispered about my stillness, my silence. But inside, I was dismantling a dynasty. The evidence was delivered in a plain envelope, anonymous courier. Inside, printouts, files, photographs, the boy's messages, his father's bribes, wire transfers marked with dates, judges listed like assets, everything. I didn't breathe. I didn't blink. I simply slid the envelope shut, walked into the hospital lobby, and dialed the CO. He answered on the first ring. Arrogant still, though the edges were cracking. "Do you know what I have?" I asked. "Silence. You're bluffing," he said. I didn't argue. I simply handed the envelope to a waiting shadow in the lobby. A man who owed me more than his life. He disappeared into the night, carrying the kind of truth no money could bury. I said nothing more. The CEO's voice broke across the line, sharp, desperate. "Wait!" But I ended the call. And for the first time, I smiled. The next day, the headlines erupted. CEO's son implicated in hit and run. Evidence of judicial bribery surfaces. High-profile arrests expected. Television screens flickered with chaos. Shareholders panicked. Lawyers scrambled. And then, as planned, I walked into his office. Security had melted away, paid off, bought, or too afraid to stand in my path. He sat behind his desk, face ashen, tie loosened, eyes bloodshot. A man who had believed he was untouchable, now watching his empire bleed. I didn't sit. I placed a photograph on his desk. My daughter. Before. "Do you see her?" I asked softly. His lips trembled. He tried to speak. I leaned closer. "She'll live. Barely. She'll carry scars your son gave her, but she will breathe." I let the silence cut him open. "Your son won't carry scars. He won't even carry guilt, because prison won't break him the way this will break you." His eyes snapped up, panicked, furious. "Who are you?" he whispered. I smiled, cold. "The man you should have feared before you laughed." And then I left him there, alone with the ruin I'd crafted. I sat beside my daughter's bed that night. Machines still hummed, but her chest rose, steady now, on her own. Her hand twitched in mine, a flicker of strength. I didn't cry. I hadn't cried since the street, since the sound of bones hitting asphalt. I thought of the CEO, choking on the wreckage of his kingdom. I thought of his son, locked in a cage where no bribe could reach. And I thought of the word he had used, immunity. There was never such a thing. Not for them, not for me, not for anyone. Everyone pays. In blood, in silence, in loss. I stood, leaned over, and kissed my daughter's forehead. Then I whispered the truth I had always known. No one is untouchable. And walked into the dark.